Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the three-dimensional frequency. I sit in front of you today fresh-faced and makeup-free as I prepare to head to bed. A bed that I've been anticipating for a good portion of the day, as bed is my absolute favorite place to be at the end of a long day. At the end of a long night, I love to snuggle up with my blanket, with my baby, with my children, and curl up in a ball and put my head to sleep and rest my head to sleep as I travel the quantum realm on a soul level of all levels. My body is fast asleep, comfortable in my bed. And as I sit here fresh-faced in front of you today, I feel a little bit insecure, to tell you the truth. As in the past, when I did have a social media account, I would take billions of photos, pun intended, and pick the best angles and edit them accordingly and share it to an account where people could be watching, people could be judging, people could be thinking many thoughts of all the thoughts that you could ever think up of a million billion people thinking, stirring in their head, stirring in my head. And as I sit and stir the thoughts in my head in this very moment in time, these are my thoughts that I'm thinking, that I would like my daughter to grow up in a world where she doesn't have to worry about her looks, where she doesn't have to worry about judgment from fellow humanity members, from fellow women, from fellow children, from fellow men, from fellow people, from fellow souls of humanity, to be judging her on the way that she looks, in the physicality of who she is, as none of that is who she is, as she is in the purity of herself, in a God's frequency, in a God's form that is so pure, in an energetic way. And none of the physicality that you see sitting in front of you today represents the being that I am in this very moment in time. And so our children deserve to wake up and become and live in a world where they do not succumb to the physicality of what is, where they do not succumb to their looks, where they do not get entertained and enthralled in the way that they look. So much so that they'd have to put on a layer of makeup, edit that photo, to post that photo to an audience, to gain likes, to gain shares, to gain confidence of that in which they truly are. Because, ladies and gentlemen, none of that is real. Social media is not real. Makeup is not real. Reality itself, in this very moment in time that you're sitting in, the reality that you're sitting in is also not real. On every single intrinsic level of levels of all levels, our reality field is filled with distortions upon distortions of perceptions of a humanity, of a humanoid so steeped in distortions of all that it is, all that you are, and all that I am in any given moment in time. And on the deepest level of the brainwashing of our societal structures that the darkness has encompassed, that the darkness has delivered to a society that is so easily moldable, to young youths that are so easily attainable in the way that their frequency functions as they absorb all of the information in the ethers, as they absorb all of the perspectives of their peers at any given moment in time. And so you see, our children live in a state of fear. Our parents, the parents of today, live in a state of separation. A separation so steeped in lovelessness, though they feel all of the love in their hearts for the children that they raise, for the children that they yearn to have, and for the children that they've always had in their bosoms and in their heart of all hearts. For they've delivered these children into this world filled with distortions as they live themselves in distortions for the longest time, for as long as they can remember, for as long as they've lived within Mother Gaia as a physicality of a being of what is. And in this moment in time, as I sit in front of you fresh-faced and without makeup, I would like to say this one thing, that you are beautiful, that I am beautiful in every single way that you can envision or imagine or comprehend in any moment in time, that looks themselves don't matter in any single given moment in time. That your perception, that my perception, that perception in itself is skewed to a point where looks do matter. Behavior does matter. Physicality does matter, to a point where looks are the only things and is the only thing that we see when we look at another person across the room, across the stairwell, across the classroom, down the hall, at the Starbucks that you go to every morning, at the park, at the mother that is so tired with her hair up in a messy bun, and you find yourself intrinsically judging her for her looks, as you find yourself intrinsically judging people for their skin color, as you find yourself intrinsically judging people for their weight, as you find yourself intrinsically judging people for their inherited traits that they possess, that they cannot change, that they cannot fathom to be any different than that in which they are, that they've been living in, within the physicality of the body that they reside in. And ladies and gentlemen, as we shift into the 5-dimensional frequency, looks will fade, makeup will fade, plastic surgery will fade. An entire society, an entire generation of kids, of children, of teens, of preteens, of adults will shift into the background of what is, looks-wise, and shift forward into an energetic frequency of all-encompassing love, all-encompassing light, and all-encompassing energy of all that they are not, as they step into the light of all that they are and all that they will ever be, in a moment in time when physicality does not matter so much as energetic frequency. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no more celebrities. There will be no more admiration of another person down the street, of another person on TV, of another person on your screen, looking, feeling, and behaving like the ultimate person that you would like to be, that you yearn to be, that you feel judgment of in a moment of insecurity within your own soul, that you do not look like them, that you are not rich like them, that you are not them, you are not who they are. How dare they deserve the life that they have when you are sitting in dirt? How dare they behave the way that they do when you do not have all that they have? I'm here to tell you that those days are going to be over, that those days are over energetically a long time ago. Yet our society still sits in the air of a physicality that is so great and so grand. That physicality itself cannot defeat the meaning of all of this until we as a collective society shift into the 5-dimensional frequency of what is. And what was will become a distant past within a time that we can remember, within a lifetime that we never fathomed that we would ever have, and that we would ever be able to shift into a place, into a state of forgiveness so great and so grand, into a state so beautiful, so wholesome, so whole, so confident, so structurally complete in every single way, on a societal level, on a singular fractal level, and on every single level of levels that you can ever fathom and you can ever envision. In these levels and levels of a societal structure that is so great and so grand, you will find all types of beauty, all types of beautiful creatures of nature that Mother Nature had intended for them to be, had intended for them to become, had intended for them to experience, had intended for them to encompass the beauty of what is, without shifting and without changing into who they prefer to be, into what they are known to be. As on an intrinsic level of who they truly are, they are who they are what they are. And that cannot be changed. It can never be fathomed in a way that it can permanently be shifted and changed and skewed into a way that could satisfy your soul. As ladies and gentlemen, the intrinsic urge to shift your appearance, to skew your perception of the creature that you are, of that in which you are, is an intrinsic urge to not become the wholesomeness that you are, to step out of the completeness that you already are, and that you're sitting in, and that you have been sitting in for eons and eons of evolutionary feats. There's truly nothing wrong with you. There's truly no reason why you should sit in front of the mirror and judge yourself for that in which you are not. As ladies and gentlemen, what you are is completeness in the entirety of a wholesomeness that I can never explain to you in this one video, and you can never fathom as I try to explain to you in this one video of what is. In this short span of a 1-hour video that I sit and tell you, and as I tell you the stories of a humanity so steeped in distortions, I too sit in a bit of distortions. And as I sip my water and clear my throat, as I feel I've been speaking a little bit too much today, to a point where my voice box has lost itself along the way, I too feel a bit of distortions within this moment in time. As I sit and wonder what it was that I was trying to cover up with my makeup, what it was that I was trying to accentuate with my eyelashes, what it was all of this time that made me feel comfortable to have those layers of fakeness on my skin, on my face, on my belonging that has always been mine, to make me feel like I was better than I was prior to the application of that makeup. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that there is no difference. There's no difference between you and I. There's no difference between a fresh face or a makeup face. There's no difference between false eyelashes or real eyelashes. There's no difference between any which way that you prefer to look, feel, behave, and act. As the way you are is perfect in its entirety of what is. The way you are is the way that God designed you to be. The way you are is God itself in its entirety of a whole of what is. And the way you've been has been a distortion. It has always been a distortion of what is, that you felt comfortable to traverse, that you felt comfortable to perform in front of the camera in a way that you felt comfortable, to show yourself to the world in a way that you prefer to be seen. And ladies and gentlemen, the distortions are deep and the distortions are grand, in a way that the darkness brings about the distortions of what is and brainwashes an entire society to believe that they're not enough. They're not good enough as an entirety of a whole of what is. They're not good enough as the fractal soul of who they are. Our children are running down the street feeling scared, feeling endangered. Parents are insecure of whether or not they can trust the strangers in the washrooms when they send their children to the washroom. They're scared to send them alone, as they fear that the stranger in the washroom might take advantage of them when they turn their backs on their children. And I can tell you in this very moment in time that in those times of fear, in those times of need, all of humanity, regardless of who you are, regardless of whether it's me, it's you, it's your children, it's the children down the street, it's the children of a stranger down the street, we're all the same. We're all human, regardless of whether or not your skin is brown, black, gray, green, orange, whatever skin color you prefer to have, is that of a physicality that is so temporary. The permanency of what you are and who you are is the energetic frequency that you carry on a day-to-day basis. And as we shift into the 5-dimensional frequency, an entire society will be in realization of this fact, of this one true fact, that frequency really does matter. And within this society, what we strive for is not the beauty of the physicality of what is, but instead is the frequency of the ethers, of the God's consciousness, of what shall never be and what will always be, the consciousness of an entirety of a whole of what is. And as we raise our frequency to a point within a God's consciousness of the angelic realm, of the heavenly realm of what is, that is so close to the edges of a God's consciousness, of all that you are and all that I am and all that we are on an intrinsic level, we will begin to see the light of what is. We will begin to work with energy and energetic fields as they meld and melts and shifts and skew into perspectives that we've never been able to perceive and that we've never been able to see ever before in our physicality of a lifetime on Earth, on Mother Gaia, within this three-dimensional frequency. And as we do so, we will look at that person down the street, at that blogger on her Instagram profile, looking so beautiful with her makeup and her eyelashes and her outfits that are perfectly assembled in every single way, with these perfect frames shot in perfect perspective of the colorful sunsets, of the extravagant homes, of these influencers, of these celebrities, of these very important, powerful people that have social status. And we will not see them for their physicality, but we will see them for their energetic frequency, as we will be able to tap in to the energetic frequency that they are, to the energetic frequency that they carry. And in that way, we shall be able to decipher the beauty of it all. Are they beautiful? Or are they sitting in an energy of forgetfulness? Are they tumultuous? Or are they excellent in frequency? Are they filled with unconditional love or filled with the hatred of what is? Beyond the beauty of their physicality lives a distortion that is so deep, a distortion that any regular person would not be able to pick up, but I can. As I scroll through these social media profiles, as I scroll through YouTube, as I scroll through the platforms of the world where people make a shift, make an appearance, tell a story, perform feats, structure entire civilizations of what is by dictating what they shall not be at any given moment, teaches an entire young generation how to cook, how to draw, how to behave, how to act, what is right, what is wrong, what is not right, scientific studies of what is, and typical behaviors of teenage boys, typical behaviors of teenage girls, and what they should look like in any given moment in time. The twerking of big butts on social media, long hair, beautiful eyelashes, all of that will fade into the distance. All of that, as a conglomerated whole of what is, was a distortion, is a distortion that is so deep that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And I can tell you this, that as these distortions fade into the distance of what is, you will step into a light and a truth so steeped in who you are. And all that you are not will also fade into the distance of what is. As you step into the light of who you are, you will come to the greatest and grandest realization that you cannot run away from yourself, that you cannot run away from your eyelashes. Your patchy skin can't run away from the makeup that you apply. Your sparse hair can't run away from the fake hair that you apply onto your scalp to perform these feats to an audience as you act and behave in ways that you would like to be seen and that you would like to shift into in any given moment in time. That the inherent beauty of who and what you are will always remain, as who and what you are has been blessed with a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand. And the physicality that you live in has always been a perfect physicality, that you were designed in every way, shape, and form to reflect a God's consciousness that is so true, that is so perfect, that is so diverse in all that it is, all that you are, and all that I am in any given moment in time. And that you and I have always been a conglomerated whole since the beginning of a time that has been so arduous, since the end of a time of no tomorrows, if time was really a thing within the quantum realm. And within the quantum realm, you will find many beautiful aliens within different frequencies of what is. Even though the movies brainwash you to believe, to be scared of these creatures of magnificent beauty, magnificently designed by a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand that it cannot run away from the beauty of what it is, regardless of whether or not it has a big head, big eyes, scary tentacles, green skin, wrinkly, grandma-like appearance, they're all beautiful, and you are beautiful in every single way. Your appearance will not matter within this reality field that we will shift into. In fact, as I sip on this water and soothe my throat, I will shift into a perspective of neutrality when I speak of these beautiful creatures of the Arcturian realm. In Arcturus, you will find many creatures of gray toned skin, of a wrinkly appearance that is so distraught looking that when you look at them, you might be scared. You might feel like, oh my goodness, what am I looking at? Who are you? What are you? Are you dangerous? Should I perceive you as my friend? Because in this moment in time, I feel threatened by your appearance, of all appearances of the Arcturian beings. But as I sit here and describe to you their appearance, of the teeth that they do not possess, of the tentacles that they do possess in every way, shape, and form within the Arcturian realm, these beings that are so great, that are so high vibrational, that have been around for eons and eons of evolutionary feats, assisting humanity with the ascension process, post-death, as they guard the Arcturian realm, that guards the Akashic records, that guards the soul of a God's consciousness so great and so grand, that rehabilitates every single fractaled soul from a God's consciousness that's so great and so grand, into a consciousness that soothes every single aspect of portions of a reality field that is so great and so grand. They, too, have been performing feats upon millions and millions of evolutionary structures and millions of evolutionary feats of what is. As God designed their consciousness to be of the utmost beauty, to reflect a God's consciousness so diverse in range, so diverse in all that it is, as it decided to fractal out into these different layers of dimensional frequencies of what is. And within each layer of dimensional frequency, you will find all types of beings, all types of wholesomeness, all types of physicality within any given moment, within any given structure of a reality field. Upon layers and layers of reality fields of distortions, upon layers and layers of reality fields of physicalities that do not matter within the physicality of what it is. But within the three-dimensional frequency, we sit in an air of judgment. We sit in an air of fear. We sit in an air of unknowledgeable pursuits. We sit in an air of a judgment so deep and so grand that stems from the knowledge that we do not carry, from the knowledge that we do not encompass about a reality field that is as big and as grand as all that there is as a God's consciousness, is all that it is and all that you are. But you sit in an energy of disbelief, and you sit in an energy of judgment, and you sit in an energy of fear as you gaze upon the Arcturians in ways that you can never understand, as you try to make sense of their scaly skin, of their tentacles, of the way that they look in any given moment in time, of this grayish tone, of the flexibility of their skin, of the droopiness of their chins, of the beauty within their bluish grayish eyes at any given moment in time. As you peer into their eyes and you look into their souls, you will come to a realization. And the realization is this, that they are you and you are them on a different dimensional frequency. And that is all. That is all, period, at the end of the story. That looks fade into the distance of what is as you fractal off from a physicality, as you merge in with the God's consciousness that is so great and so grand. And looks, ladies and gentlemen, as an entire civilization of what is that has placed such an importance on the looks that you possess, will fade into the ultimate night of all nights. As we approach a morning of brightness so bright, as we approach a morning of the 5-dimensional frequency, as our entire society will merge into the consciousness of one. One by one, a society so steeped in distortions will begin to ascend into the frequency of all that there is and join into the societal structures of the Arcturian realm and join into the societal structures of all that there is, of the grays floating out in the ethers, not known for their beauty, but known for the scarcity of the beauty that they do not possess on any single level of the beauty standards on Mother Gaia, in Earth's frequency, in Earth's platform, in Earth's social media platform. As had I been able to shift my physicality into a gray alien in this moment in time, you'd probably tap out so fast, you'd probably faint in front of your screen due to the beauty that they do not possess. And let me tell you something, as I've shifted before into the form of a gray in previous lifetimes, and I've tapped into these lifetimes, I've lived these lifetimes consciously, and I've been able to remember what it was like and what it is like to be a gray alien myself, from Zeta Reticuli myself, living upon the dawn of a humanity that is so merged in its consciousness, in all that it is, in all that it shall remember, and all that it shall be in any given moment in time, is the greatest bliss that I could have ever envisioned and I could have ever experienced or remembered within all of the fractal aspects of my soul, within all of the fractal past lifetimes that I've ever encompassed or experienced. That was the most beautiful experience I could have ever experienced within a time of a physicality so ugly, within a time of a physicality that didn't matter to the entirety of a whole of a society, that looked like the gray aliens on the TV show that you might have been curious about, that you might have been scared of. You can imagine in every way, shape, and form what they would look like standing in front of you, what they would look like encompassing all of you and who you are as you look down at your index finger, and the tip of it is the size of a tennis ball. As you look down at your 3-digit toes, and the tip of those toes are the sizes of tennis balls. As you peer at your legs and your bony elbows, and you come to the realization that that is your body, that is who you are, and that is what has been carrying you through a reality so steeped in truthfulness, so steeped in unconditional love and forgiveness, and so steeped in all that you are not, as you come to the realization of all that you are that creature on the other side of the quantum realm. As you sit in the humanoid body that you possess within this 3-dimensional frequency, that you've probably lived a life on Zeta Reticuli as a gray, that the chances are very high that you did, that the chances are quite high that you've been an Arcturian being traversing the Arcturian realm of what is, that the chances are very high that you've been to the Pleiades and you've been a Pleiadian being, that the chances are higher than high that you've been a reptilian traversing in a planetary field so negative, traversing in a planetary field with a lizard body that looks like a crocodile, that has a long tail of all that you are. As you traverse the quantum verse in this reptilian body, experiencing the darkness of what is. And I shall say this as a fractal aspect of a soul who realizes, who knows that the darkness in itself does not encompass an entire species, that the darkness in itself is subjected to singular fractals of what is, and that the darkness in itself lives within every single fractal of a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand, that decided to fractal out in the middle of a night, that is so arduous, that decided to fractal out into the bodies of a reptilian being, of a gray being from Zeta Reticuli, of an Arcturian being from Arcturus, of a beautiful Pleiadian being from the Pleiades. No matter what you are, no matter who you are, no matter what physicality you sit in, The humanoid body that you sit in this very moment in time is no different than the gray being that they sit in any given moment in time. As you, my friend, you've always been an energetic frequency of what is. You've never left the energetic frequency that you are. You encompass all of you in any given moment in time. They encompass all of you in any given moment in time. You are them and they are you on any intrinsic level, on all intrinsic levels of the entirety of the whole of what is. And so you see, ladies and gentlemen, looks truly do not matter in a moment in time. When your energy field and your perspective field opens up to a realization that we are one, that we've never been separated, that we've never been apart. And as I sit on my water and clear my throat again, I will come to the realization that physicality does not serve us in ways that we expect, that physicality does not expand in ways that will shift into the growth of our soul's consciousness at any given moment in time, in the time that we please, in the time that we so wish to experience. That physicality in itself is a deterrence to the truth of what is a deterrence to the realness of a reality field, of a consciousness, of a quantum verse that is so steeped in distortions. And as I clear my throat in this very moment in time and the past moment in time, I come to the realization that even the physicality of my throat will not shift me into a perspective of all that I am not, as I try to explain the perspective of all that I am in a moment when the performance of my throat is so needed in any given moment in time. It decided to disperform in this moment in time as I'm trying to describe a reality field of the physicality that we sit in, and how the physicality of all that you are, the physicality of all that I am, the physicality of all that we are as an interplanetary species of what is within the galactic realm of what is, does not serve us for what it deserves to be known for what it deserves to perform within the feats of what is, as the performance of what is only to carry us through our experiences, is only to carry us through a dimensional realm so dense in frequency as we traverse this quantum verse in the very beginning of time, in the lightness and the airiness of all that we are, within a place, within a landscape of non-physicality. As ladies and gentlemen, we've always been an energetic field of what is, and within this non-physicality of a beginning that I speak of, we never had a physicality. Physicality was something that came into fruition later on, after the inception of our quantum verse, after the fractaling out of a quantum verse that is so great and so grand, did physicality become a thing? Did humanoids receive a body? Did aliens become crafted out of the nothingness of a God's consciousness that is so great and so grand? And as the crafting of these humanoid bodies took place, I have to admit that we did import these bodies from a neighboring quantum realm. That as we created a reality field so dense in the distortions of all that it is, we had the option to reach into a neighboring quantum realm to choose and pick the species that would so daringly encompass these soul fractals that would fractal out into these reality fields, with these species carrying the fractaled soul, the fractaled energetic frequency, and traversing within this field, within this physicality of what is, are these bodies that we picked, plotted, plucked from another quantum field of what is. And so you see, ladies and gentlemen, our reality field is greater than you can ever envision or imagine. The history of physicality itself, I will save for another video, as I'm losing my voice in this very moment in time, and we are reaching the 35-minute mark, and I'm starting to lose it voice box wise, as you can tell. But I'm really excited, extremely excited to produce another video to go into depths about the physicality of what is and the excitement of what it all means, of what it means to bring in this concept into this quantum verse of ours as we traverse this quantum verse for millions and trillions of evolutionary feats prior to encompassing the physicality of what is, as within our spiritual bodies, within the light bodies of who we are and the fractal souls of what we are inherently an energetic frequency and an energetic field of God's consciousness. And to perform these feats of exploration, we do not really need the physicality of what is. The physicality of what is only came about as a playful prop that would serve a humanity, that would serve a consciousness, that would serve a story to be told in another day, in another time, and in another video in time. And as I close on this video about the appearance of the beings that live and reside within our quantum realm, I am extremely excited to be able to introduce to you all of the layers of frequencies, of physicalities of what is, as we ascend into the 5-dimensional frequency. As ladies and gentlemen, we've been lied to as a societal structure and as a whole of what is, in regards to the existence of aliens, in regards to the existence of quote unquote alien species that are so very scary, that are so very nasty, that are so very ugly in every single sense of the word alien. And as I sip on my water for one final time, as I'm about to lose my voice box, I would like to close off with this thought. I'm sorry that I couldn't perform in my physicality today in the way that I had planned to, as I had planned to tell an exciting story of what is, and I was rudely interrupted by the physicality of what is within all videos of videos, which is so inherently, luckily, coherent as to the topic that I'm touching base on. And in this moment in time, I'm super grateful and extremely grateful that I get to sit in this physicality of a body of mine, and that I get to project this message into the ethers of the 3-dimensional realm, into a frequency that carries an endless amounts of bodies of physicality, that traverses Mother Gaia in ways that you and I shall know of, will know of, and do know of as we live in these physicalities of a body of ours. And as my story comes to a closing, I promise to be back with another video in another time, on another day, to go into more detail in regards to the physicality of what is within our quantum verse. These stories are grand, and these stories are great, and these stories are never ending, and these stories have layers and layers and carry layers and layers of frequency fields that I should never be able to encompass in any given moment in time. As in any given moment in time, my frequency field encompasses all that there is, but from a neutrality perspective of a God's consciousness that's so great and so grand, that has never left you, that has never left me, that has never left the entirety of a whole. I'd like to sit here and declare to you that the frequency field of all that we are within the physicality of what is, within the energetic field of what is all that matters within the 3-dimensional frequency. But as we shift and skew our energetic field to the 5-dimensional frequency, all of that will fade, as the energetic frequency of what is will come front and center. As your frequency rises to a level of a God's consciousness that's so great and so grand, you will no longer be able to focus on the physicality of what is. As you stare into the eyes of another beautiful human being in any moment in time, you will be able to decipher them for the beauty that they are, or for the darkness that they carry, regardless of how they look. And within that moment in time, you will know on an inherent level of what you really are, of who they truly are, of who we truly are as a society, as a collective, as an entirety of a whole of who we are, in any given moment in time. Have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful morning, have a wonderful midday snack wherever you are, whatever you are doing, whatever energetic frequency you're carrying or shifting into in any given moment in time. I'm here for it, and I'd like to declare that you are beautiful no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter if you have limbs or not, no matter the color of your eyes, no matter the color of your skin, no matter if you're a gray or an Arcturian being or what, you are beautiful, and you are meant to be the way that you are in every way, shape, and form as God created you to be so.